happens when we stuff our fears down and hide them away instead of talking directly to our partner about them. We all have fears, and if you've been hurt or betrayed before, either in your childhood, by caregivers, or your existing partner, then you might have something I like to call dark stories. Dark stories are fears on steroids. Fears at the beginning are just seeds of doubt, freshly planted. And dark stories is what your imagination comes up with when that seed of doubt starts growing and infiltrating your relationship mind. For example, your partner could have lied to you at the beginning of the relationship. Let's say they alluded to being at home, having a chill night, and instead they were actually at a party. That lie created fear or a seed of doubt in your mind. Even though you've forgiven your partner for this, because hey, maybe you just started dating or you were just on completely different grounds then, that lie still created a seed of doubt. Now, when your partner says they're at home, that seed of doubt begins to sprout roots and infiltrate your relationship mind. If you don't acknowledge that seed of doubt when it's activated, your dark imagination takes over and grows that seed into a full-blown dark story. Hello, Moodlings. My name is Dr. Nicole Luna, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of MoodMe, a new app that allows you to share over 400 plus moods, emotions, and desires with your lover, thus making communication simple, fun, and super easy. So download MoodMe. You can find it on the Apple Store and Google Play. And by the way, it's completely free. Relationship fears are so contagious. Like I said, it starts off on that seed of doubt, and then all of a sudden, your entire mind is filled with the specific accusation that your partner is definitely doing that bad thing that you think that they're doing. And then it starts pushing the way that you treat them in a different direction. And it's terrible. And your partner might not have any clue why you're treating them differently, why you're acting differently. And it's because deep down, there's that like poisonous fear that's created into a dark story that hopefully doesn't reach the fear demon stage, and it's ruining your relationship. Of course, you need some awareness to understand that it's even there, but more than that, acceptance. You have to accept that you have that fear, and then the courage. You need courage to speak that fear out to your partner. Some examples of dark stories could be, my partner's been at the gym for a long time. Did he meet somebody there? I'm sure there are cute girls at the gym. He wouldn't work out for this long. He must be stepping out on me. Or, my partner has been working a lot, hasn't been very present. I bet she's hiding something because her behavior has changed. She's definitely withholding information from me. I bet it has something to do with that coworker she told me about. So you can kind of see how a fear or a seed of doubt starts spiraling into a complete dark story. The dark imagination begins to concoct scenarios that are stemming from emotional triggers, shadows, and fears. The dark imagination begins to take observations you have about another and create a very detailed version of what your fear thinks is happening. A dark story where your partner is the villain and you are the victim. This is where having a powerful imagination can play against you. If your imagination is being fueled by fear or pain, it will lead you down a dark path that might not even be based in reality. You might also start pulling from how people treated you in the past. Your dark stories might not even be about your current partner, but past partners before. This is where the saying comes from, don't make your current partner pay for past people's mistakes. We are all afraid of getting bamboozled, tricked, lied to, used, or stolen from. If you've been hurt before as a child or as an adult, you might have a problem with trusting the world, or even a harder time trusting that the person before you isn't wearing a mask, isn't hiding another personality underneath. Those with emotional wounds like this need to lean into deep communication. The only healthy way out of these dark creative stories that vilify your partner is to put all of your fears on the table for open discussion. Of course, this will take a very open and gentle partner. The receiving partner should not take offense to these fears and dark stories coming up because ultimately, it's not about them. The dark stories are about us, our emotional wounds, our personal stories. Your partner might be a leading role in your dark story, but there would be no story at all without you. It's a strange thing to admit to ourselves that we have these intrusive thoughts. We might stuff these fears down and refuse to acknowledge them because we don't want to feel weak. We don't want to show our partner a soft and vulnerable place because they could possibly use it against us in the future, or because we're afraid that they might look at us differently. But a truly understanding partner will be open to hearing your dark stories and fears and respond with affirmation, compassion, and kindness. They'll give you a safe space to hold you, even in your darkest thoughts and days. I personally never knew that it was an option to actually speak these dark stories and fears out loud in a relationship. I kind of figured that it was in my head and I needed to take care of it on my own. But speaking them out loud truly does bring healing to those fears, and it takes the power away from those dark thoughts, and it cleanses your relationship. I know we may feel inclined to hide our fears about the relationship and our partners, to catch them like a firefly and stuff them in a jar. But that's the opposite of what will stop your dark stories in relationships. Stuffing them down will only make your relationship fears double, triple, quadruple in time. As an energy healer, I've seen dismissed fears grow into something quite large. Something that starts to have its own voice and influences our actions and has the capability to completely ruin relationships. I like to call these fear demons. So if we go back and we follow the evolution of a fear, we look at where it first begun, a lie or a betrayal that created a seed of doubt. Refusal to communicate or accept this fear turns this fear into a dark story. The dark story begins to spread roots and infiltrate our relationship mind. Then, the third evolution would be that it has turned into a fear demon and is wreaking havoc on your relationship. It has developed a voice within your inner critic and your ego. We don't have to let fear rule our relationship. We just have to make time for conscious communication and tell our partners what we are afraid of. In the darkest moments in your relationship, where does your mind go? Let's say that you're afraid of your partner cheating on you. Infidelity is a common relationship fear. How does the fear of infidelity drive your actions in the relationship? Is this fear leading you to sabotage the good in your relationship? Is this fear acting as a self-fulfilling prophecy where you push your partner towards the very thing that you're afraid of? Fear and sabotage go hand in hand. They're like little darkness monsters skipping off to ruin your relationship, because when you have suppressed relationship fear and dark stories about your partner, you may begin to act like those fears are real. Your dark imagination may tell you that your partner is actually doing these things. You begin to observe everything about your partner and specifically choose the details that fit your dark story narrative. You may not tell your partner your fears straight out because you want to seem cool, calm, collected, because your ego doesn't want you to be more vulnerable. But your distrust for your partner comes out in paper cutting comments, which, by the way, are not subtle. Your partner may take offense to these remarks and begin pushing you away, which fuels the dark story narrative even more, and round we continue to go. So how do you stop relationship fear and dark stories from ruining your relationship? You have to own your fears. You have to muster the courage to speak your fears aloud to your partner in a way that doesn't accuse them, but owns them in I statements. By owning your fears, you're sucking the very life out of them. They will not have the same power over you because no longer lurking in the shadows. A dark secret, a dark story, a dark monster behind you. So bring your relationship fears into the light with these tips. Tip number 1. Create intentional time to talk about fears and dark stories. Make sure you're alone in a calm environment. If you do this when you're drunk with your partner at a party, that could go south really fast because fears are hard enough to own when you're clear-minded and when there's no distractions around. Number 2, write down your relationship fears and dark stories on paper and put them in I format. I am scared that you turned your text messages off because I think that means you're hiding something. Why? Because in my past, that's how people hid stuff from me before. Tip number 3, ask for affirmation from your partner. We have to focus on positive action steps. Don't expect your partner to change their behavior because that can come off as controlling. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if your partner changes their behavior because your relationship fear will find another thing to poke at, and then you'll be right back with the same fear in a different outfit. Number 4, remember, the power comes from owning your fear. Saying them out loud will help you reclaim your energy. Number 5, don't mix up your relationship fear with intuition. Remember, fear brings you into a dark spiral, and intuition brings you into a place of clarity. Intuition will bring you to an aha moment, and things will just snap into place. With fear, it will only bring you into more questioning and place a dark cloud over your mind. Tip number 6, catch the relationship fear before it grows roots. Get comfortable with saying your relationship fears out loud daily if you have to. How much easier would it be if our partners just said their fears out loud instead of paper cutting or being passive aggressive? You can keep a journal and write these down anytime you feel them. That also is an extremely healthy approach. Tip number 7, When your partner is sharing relationship fears with you, don't take them personally. Let them speak their fears and don't interrupt them or tell them that they're crazy for thinking that way. Don't dismiss their fears. It takes a lot for them even to say it out loud. Meet your partner's relationship fears with compassion and understanding. Then give your partner words of affirmation. Tip number 8, to get rid of relationship fears and anxiety, do a burning ceremony with your partner. Write your fears down on a piece of paper and light that paper on fire. Watch your fears turn into ash and then get rid of them. Flush them down the toilet and let them go. Tip number 9, to get rid of relationship fears and lean further into communication, you can use the Mood Me app. In the Mood Me app, you can easily share over 400 plus moods, emotions, and desires with your partner, including fears, anxieties, worries, or dark stories. It's a fun tool and it can really simplify the fear expression in your relationship. And you can ask for affirmations or to feel safe. Here's what not to do with your relationship fears, anxieties, and dark stories. Don't wait until you're drunk to tell your partner what your relationship fears are because they might not come out in the best way and it can be explosive. Don't accuse your partner of your relationship fears and dark stories. These are your fears, and if you accuse your partner, they'll most likely get defensive or offended and it's gonna turn into an argument. You won't win and your relationship will lose. Don't assume that your partner is doing the things that your dark imagination and fears are saying that they're doing and then decide to seek vengeance. This is a surefire way to ruin your relationship. Don't assume that your partner is doing bad things and start treating your partner like they've already done it. Assumptions create problems. Just create an open space where you can talk about your fears instead of just jumping to conclusions based off of your dark imagination. Don't stuff your relationship fears in a box and think that box is just going to magically disappear because they won't, they'll just fester. Don't reach into the past and replace your current partner with someone who hurt you or did you wrong. Separate your partner from your past and give them a fair chance, a clean slate. My hope is for this video to normalize us being able to speak out our relationship fears to our partners, to make it like a routine, a daily thing, to make it not something that we're so afraid of or that we have to stuff down, because that's not gonna help the relationship. And if you're a person who's been hurt or damaged by people in the past, you're gonna have relationship fears, and that's completely normal and it's totally okay. But don't try to run from your fears. Don't try to stuff them away. You have to face your fears head on before they begin to control your actions and ruin your relationship. In conclusion, relationship fears suck. And the way to get past them is to say them out loud and to own them. That's your saving grace. Lean into communication. That's what's gonna keep your relationship happy and thriving. All right, that concludes our video for today. How do you feel about communicating your relationship fears? Please leave us a comment in the section below. Subscribe, share, and like, and download Mood Me. See you later, Moodlings.